I'm in a different mode. I'm here. I don't care who's in front of me. I'm going to go out there and get that W.
Well, I think we can all say that that was a display of heart and determination. Call your next shot.
I want the best guys in the world. It doesn't matter. I want the Yairs. I want the Stevens. I want the Cattars.
What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Combat Sports Central. So, the UFC has a quick turnaround in the Fight Island era. Fight Island, following one event, has already had some extremely interesting matchups. And with COVID, we've seen some new and unexpected stars emerge into positions of title fights. This Wednesday's main event will be no different. The Boston finisher has lived up to the name in his last 4 wins, stopping some of the best featherweight talents the division has to offer. The top 2 names on that resume, number 14 ranked Shane Burgos and number 9 Jeremy Stephens. Among the top 10 of the division, Kattar ranks 2nd in knockdowns per 15 minutes and sits tied for 4th in knockdowns landed over his entire career. This is again with only 6 fights to his name in the UFC. Kattar also hasn't landed a knockdown in a fight where he hasn't finished it. Sometimes you can see the knockdown number skewed because he can land multiple knockdowns in the same fight without being able to finish the fight. So this weekend, we can almost be certain that if he is able to knock IGE down, it will be a night ender. He sits tied for 2nd in the division for KO and TKO victories and looks to take control of the number 2 spot with a stoppage victory, putting him only behind Max Holloway in the featherweight division. Back to the 2 opponents Kattar was able to finish, Shane Burgos and Jeremy Stephens. They're both phenomenal strikers, and you know what they're known for? Being extremely tough and being extremely durable. Stephens himself sits at number 1 in knockdowns landed in the division, but Kattar brutally knocked out both of them in highlight reel fashions and has now earned himself his 2nd UFC main event slot. Kattar looks to improve his stock in the featherweight division and fight his way to a title fight in the near future. Across the cage stands Dynamite Dan 50K Ige, who has the 2nd longest active featherweight UFC win streak and looks to tie Arnold Allen at 7 consecutive UFC wins in this division with a showcase on Fight Island. Opening up as the underdog for the 4th consecutive time, he looks to silence doubters once again as he makes the walk to the octagon, this time without any fans. In his last performance, Ige walked out against the debuting featherweight Edson Barboza, and Ige predominantly stood with one of the most dangerous and powerful strikers the UFC has to offer. With his first main event spot, Dynamite Dan, he looks to continue his rise, now sitting as the number 10 ranked featherweight in the world. He looks to try and challenge the best in the division and in the end, earn that world title opportunity. Now for this fight, I'm super duper excited to see how Dan Ige handles it. He has wrestling credentials, he has jiu-jitsu credentials, he could try and get this fight to the mat, or he could stand like he did with Edson Barboza, but that's probably the more dangerous route to go. And can Kattar hold up against a very, very solid wrestler who's going to look to take him down at some points in the fight, I'm sure of it, just to keep Kattar on his toes? Or will Kattar be able to keep this fight standing and be able to land some of the shots that he's able to land and live up to the nickname, the Boston finisher? This fight main event is being slept on. It's a Wednesday, it's a midweek fight card, so people are going to try and look down on this event just because they want to look down on this event, but this main event has all the potential of making a fight of the year push, and I'm super duper excited to see how this fight goes. It has that Dustin Poirier, Dan Hooker type vibe for me, 1 division lower, so we're going to... Now for the fun stuff. What's next? Now, Dan Ige, Calvin Kattar. Basically, at the end of each one of these new episodes, I'm going to be looking ahead at both guys and what their directive, what their best path to the world title is if they're in that situation, or what's next, what's in the near future, what can be planned out in the near future that seems attainable, that will put these guys in the best position to further have success, get more wins, and get closer to the title. For this case scenario, there's actually a lot on the line here for either guy. If either guy wins, they have a real claim to fighting a top 5 opponent, and once you get a top 5 win, you're put in the conversation for fighting for a world title. And as we know, the world champion right now, Alexander Volkanovski, just finished off his rivalry with Max Holloway, picking up his second consecutive win in controversial fashion in this fight. But nonetheless, I can't see Holloway being able to, them running Holloway versus Volkanovski back. So Volkanovski needs a champion. So we got to think on the lines of what will get either of these guys to that world title shot. Now, sometimes you might have two different paths for two different fighters. If this guy wins, where does he go? Say a contender who's going to look higher up in the rankings, and then you have a debuting fighter who might look to get a dominant win, a great finish that might put them in position more than trying to demand something that that is out of reach for them. But in this situation, I think both guys' paths are pretty much the same, and it involves somebody in the top 10. So let's look at the matchups that demand a title shot. Now, with any of these 5 guys, I think if you beat them, you're in position to demand for a world title. That would be Max Holloway, the Korean Zombie, Brian Ortega, Zabit Magomedsharipov, and Yair Rodriguez. Now, if we take out both the fights that have already been made, Zabit Magomedsharipov and Yair Rodriguez, and the fights that are being planned to be made, Brian Ortega, the Korean Zombie, that leaves one guy, and that guy actually just fought on Fight Island. So maybe, and he actually didn't look like he sustained a crazy amount of damage in the fight, so maybe, just maybe, after this fight, you make a call out of Max Holloway, you say, man, there's a world champion. He's a world champion. He won his rivalry, but there's a guy that is basically the world champion. He lost the controversial decision. I think he got robbed. I want to fight Max Holloway. I want that world title. And even if I don't get the belt, I'll feel like a world champion taking this guy out. Either of these guys could do it. Dan Ige could do it, or Calvin Kattar could do it. So that would be my path for either guy. That's their best case scenario. Their best option is get on that microphone after a dominant, great performance and call out Blessed Era, call out the Hawaiian, Max Holloway. Now let me know what you guys think about that in the comments section below. We're going to see how that fight goes, and we're going to see many more fights this Wednesday on Fight Island. Let me know if you guys are excited in that comment section below, and let me know who you guys think is going to win the fight, Calvin Kattar or Dan Ige. I don't know if I'm going to include them in my bet predictions, but tomorrow you can expect a Bet365 prediction video, and hopefully I can cash some money for you guys. But for this video, looking at the main event of Fight Island number 2, basically, that's going to do it. Remember to smash that like button if you enjoyed. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you want more up-to-date MMA content and all things MMA. But again, that'll do it for us today. Peace out, guys.